Hi guys, it's me, Arden Lee. I am back with another video, and in today's video, I want to talk about attachment. I want to talk about attachment and how often we mistake it for romantic love. And I want to talk about the pain that happens within us when we have an attachment to a certain person showing up for us in a way that they're just not showing up for us, or in a way that they don't want to show up for us. I want to talk about the pain and the discord that occurs when we are attached to someone being a yes, when the truth is that they're really a no. What happens when we want someone to be a yes so badly that we're willing to be in this tension of that and ignore the reality that they're not what we're really wanting for ourselves, right? Because of course, what we all want for ourselves is we want to be desired equally as passionately as we desire the person we desire. We want to be in that relationship where we're matched in our energy, in our love, and our commitment, right? Objectively speaking, we all do. And yet we get attached to these people who are telling us that they're not there. They're not that person, you know? It's really interesting for me as I've really settled into this energy. It's really made it such a bizarre experience for me when I see people who have feelings for me that I don't reciprocate, because it's so strange. I mean, it's fine, and it's flattering, and it's but it's such a bizarre experience, because if I feel that tension there, if I feel that clawing and that grasping energy, if I feel someone coming at me with the energy of an attachment to a yes that just is not present in my body, then I'm kind of like, why do you want me to do something that I clearly don't want to do? I don't really understand this. It's funny. Before I learned to set personal boundaries, I had a very hard time setting personal boundaries due to incidents that happened, in my childhood where I was punished and humiliated for attempting to assert personal boundaries. So I just carried that into adulthood and was just like, I can't assert boundaries whatsoever. So I would be threatened by people's attraction to me, and I would see it as if I wasn't into someone, I would run, I would ghost, I would get really scared because I didn't know how to maintain my sovereignty. And when I did want someone, then I just threw myself wholeheartedly into the relationship and just didn't have any boundaries within the relationship. So this is not a good recipe for things, by the way. I don't recommend that. And now that I know how to set personal boundaries, I feel, I no longer take on any responsibility for another person's attraction to me, which means that I can stay in, I can stay within the context of being around that energy, and being around it more has gotten me to this kind of perspective where, I don't want to lead anyone on. So I really engage just the level that I feel comfortable engaging. And I give myself permission to know that, unless something is explicitly discussed, that I'm not, I'm only a yes to what I'm a yes to, and I'm a no to what I'm a no to, and I'm not going to apologize for any of that, basically. And if someone had, expectations on me that they didn't clarify, then that's not my problem. So, my job is to be in my integrity and to stay true to my word, and to show up in my authenticity and be honest about where I'm at. And beyond that, if someone doesn't take my word for where I'm at, then there's nothing I can, I refuse to take on more responsibility than that. But as I sit in this energy now and study it, it's like I'm just like, it bothers me that someone thinks they have feelings for me at all when they can't see the truth of what I want to do and don't want to do. Because if you can't discern that in the moment, how much are you really seeing me? And how much do you really know me to want me? It's like, it's not, if it's not in alignment, then there's a reason. And I say all of this, and I say this with a lot of difficulty and shame, because I was a pickup artist, you guys. I was so attached in the past because I really thought it was a reflection on me, what people thought of me. And I guess that's normal, especially being a woman in our society, where we're told that our desirability is our currency. That desirability is what opens doors, is what earns us love and approval, right? We all grow up with these images of what we're these ridiculous standards that we're held to as women. And sure, so it's understandable, but at the same time, I look back and I'm like, wow, I really wanted some people in my life to show up in ways that they just did not want to show up for me. And I thought I could change that by being different or being better. And that's like, wow, how many people did I have such strong feelings for that I wasn't even really seeing the truth of? So I know a lot of this is really harsh, you guys. And it's not easy. It's not easy to practice. But the key, I believe, to really calling in that true love, soul-aligned relationship is flipping this paradigm. Is this specific truth, as difficult as it is to digest, that we don't want to be with someone who doesn't want us. So when someone communicates to us, either directly or indirectly, that they don't want us at the level that we want them, the response to that should be thanks. Thanks for letting me know, even though that's difficult. It saves me some time. If this is not something that is meant to happen, how long do I want to waste trying to force two puzzle pieces to fit together that just don't fit together? I spent a lot of time trying to force puzzle pieces, you guys, and it's not fun. And now that I understand how these things work, since I don't know, awakened, if you want to call it that, or since honestly it's magic. It's really, for me, it was the study of magic. It was the study of the occult that taught me how these energetics interact with one another. And the joke in in magic is that someone will walk into a shop and say, like, I want this guy. Can you give me a love spell to get this guy? We'll be like, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to create a thing that isn't meant to be if it's not coming together? And, why not do a spell to attract your true love? And the person's like, I don't want my true love. I want this guy, right? Fuck my true love. And that's really, like, when you start to understand, when you start to surrender to that, like, you start to see that really is how it works. Is everyone's out here rejecting their true love relationship because they're attached to a person who's not their true love. And you're like, this is silly. What are we doing? So I, and I get it, and I'm human too, and I get crushes, and, and I forgive myself, and I allow myself those feelings, because I also know that they're telling me something about me. And that's, in itself, that's information. And then I try and be like, well, let's just see how it plays out. And ultimately, if someone is not up for the thing I'm up for, I can look at them and like, I'll be disappointed. But part of me will be like, really? You're not seeing, the thing that I'm envisioning? Because this sounds like it would be really cool. But okay. All right, that's just what it is. Ultimately, I want to play with someone who is envisioning the thing that I'm envisioning, right? If there's that disconnect there, then I don't want that, man. I don't want to keep forcing that. And my surrender into how much I don't want to keep doing that, how much I don't want to force that, how much I did that for so long, and it exhausted me, and I just, on an organic, embodied level, I just do not want to do that anymore. Ever since then, it's like, you can just kind of let it go. I shouldn't say that, right? I should, but it's not easy. And I get it. And we have those, we have our human attachments. It's fine. That's normal. But we have to make a deliberate choice that what we want is the relationship with the person who wants us in return, and not this specific person. If we keep getting attached to the relationship showing up in a person that it doesn't want to anchor itself in, then we're just wasting time, like going down a road that's not gonna work out for us. It doesn't mean that just because something isn't, that also doesn't mean that just because something isn't working now, that it can't necessarily work in the future. But then you've got to stop stressing about it, because that's just going to put more energy into that. And you've got to just say, like, if it's in alignment, if it works, then it works. And if it doesn't, then I trust that something else is going to come along. The thing that a lot of coaches in this space say, myself included, is, this person or better. If there's no one else around who's who's matching, my feelings for someone, then okay, then there's no reason for me to settle. That's the problem, is that so often people think that this energy is about settling, and it's not. When they're like, if I let go of this person, then that means I'm going to be settling, right? Because this is the person I want, and everybody else is just settling. What it actually means is, if you think that it's settling, then it means that you're not allowing yourself to imagine the possibility of meeting or calling in a person that you like just as much as this person who also likes you in return. And why aren't you able to imagine that? Why is that not something that you would want for yourself more than you want the tension and heartbreak of wanting something that's not there? And ironically, in so many ways, it is the act of releasing that can allow that person, whether it's the one that that we had the attachment to in the first place, or another one that comes along, it's that releasing that attachment that allows it to come in. It's a Chinese finger trap, you guys. When I was first learning about this, I remember someone who was teaching me at the time told me, when I was talking about love and relationships, and oh my God, I was just like obsessed with this dude who just wasn't, committing to me or whatever. And I was trying to find all these ways of like making it work. And I was compromising. And she finally, we were texting, and she sent me the image of a Chinese finger trap. She was like, Arden, it's this. And it's one of those things that you're supposed to do, but it doesn't click, right? It doesn't click until you really decide that you're done with causing so much stress and tension where there doesn't need to be any. And saying, I trust that someone is going to come in for me who I don't have to convince, who I don't have to plea bargain with, who I can just express myself fully around and just be myself and do the things that I love and just be in my integrity, you know, and be in my authenticity. And that I don't have to do anything for them to show up and love me exactly as I am. The thing that really, for me, switched so much of my worldview was just deciding that that was the thing that I was curious about. I was like, what is it like to be in that energy of just expressing myself authentically and not caring? You know, I would have said that I did that before because I was willing to go against conformity a lot, and I would have said, oh, I don't care what anyone thinks of me. I'm, you know, doing my own path or whatever. But I absolutely cared about not being rejected. So yeah, I edited myself in a lot of ways. What would it be like to imagine that there's someone who shows up and like I could be like ridiculous and silly and just like whatever, and that they would, you know, what would it be like for me to be loved the way that I love other people, the way that I see someone, I'm like, you have zero flaws. Maybe you do, but you know, but there's nothing I would change about you. That everything that you do is perfect and perfectly aligned because it's you, and I trust you to know your path, and everything is, you know, that whatever it is, that it comes with that unconditional love, you know. It's not to say, I'm sure you guys know this already, but I'll just put this out there. It's not to say that we condone abuse, because naturally we don't want to enable someone in doing harm, right? But we can still love them in that we can love someone and also say, I'm not going to let you do that, because then I'm hurting you by letting you hurt me. So just disclaimer. But yeah, what would that be like? You have to start getting more curious about that than you are. You want to be more attached to that and that relationship that you want than you are to who it shows up in. And that doesn't mean that it's going to show up in someone you're not attracted to, because that's not the relationship that you want either. That's the relationship of settling. The relationship of true love is never going to be the relationship of settling, you guys. That's why we hold out for true love. So, so anyway, this is a pretty vulnerable share. It's an important topic, and it's also hard for me to talk about a lot of these feelings. And yeah, and a lot of the ways that they show up. But it's really important. It's a real game changer. And I hope we allow ourselves to step into that energy more and more, and to start to realize that that is what self-love really is. That the practice of self-love, which is like anything that gets popular, it gets, you know, eaten by capitalism, you know. But the real, you know, it's not bath bombs. It's the real practice of self-love is putting yourself through the experience of falling in love with yourself, of stepping into the experience of a person falling in love with you and seeing yourself through those eyes, so that you no longer want to settle for anything that's not that. That's really the remarkable thing about falling in love with yourself. When you see how amazing it is, you don't really want to be with anyone who doesn't see you that way anymore, because it no longer aligns with the way that you see yourself. This is kind of what we mean when we say that we attract people who see us at the level we see ourselves, you know? And I attracted a lot of people who probably thought I was like a 7 at best, you know? Or at least treated me like that, you know? But, and why, right? Why was that something that I was in agreement with, you know? why did I see that as a reflection on me and not a reflection on them and their ability to perceive me? I'm really into being perceived right now. I'm I'm a pretty strange creature. I'm aware of that, you know. Um, I have a pretty strange brain. um, the things that I do and the way that I live and the way that I talk and the things that I talk about are, you know, I recognize that in many ways, in really stepping into my authenticity, I'm embracing the fact that I'm someone who's very different and has always been different, you know, since growing up, and has had that as a part of her identity, and kind of played it down because she thought that it wasn't sexy. and and in stepping more into that energy now, I'm really into this idea of being perceived, because I know that it's not easy, because I know that it requires someone looking past the surface. And and I got curious about that. I got into that. And if I'm showing up, there might be someone who's super attractive that I'm really attracted to. But if they're not perceiving me, then I'm going to be kind of bored. You know? If they're not perceiving me and in some way falling in love with me, then why am I there? What am I doing? That's not what I'm wanting, you know? So anyway, I'd love to invite us all to step more into this paradigm. Um, it doesn't solve all your problems, but it really frees up a lot of space. It creates a lot more peace. And there's still going to be challenges, and there's still going to be emotions to navigate, and there's still always going to be attachments, and there's never not going to be that, but just coming back and just being like, coming back to really being able to commit to giving yourself the thing that you want and believing in it. And yeah. That's what it's all, I think that's what it all comes down to. So I invite us to do more of that. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.